joining us on our journey of 1,000 pages. I'm your host, Christina, and I'm here with our other host.
Hello, I'm Anty, the co-host.
Thank you. I was about to say
Yes.
hello, other host.
Yes, 'tis I.
'Tis you. And this month for November, we chose fantasy. Finally.
Finally, thank God.
I don't know why we picked one of our
Oh my God.
favorite genres and put it towards the tail end of the year.
Yeah, I don't know.
But here we are.
We wanted to hurt ourselves.
Hey, we saved the best for almost the last.
That's fair.
If you have never read fantasy or interacted with anything like that ever, which is pretty shocking, here's a definition for you. Fantasy is a genre of speculative fiction that involves supernatural or magical elements, often including completely imaginary realms and creatures.
Yes. Dragons. Give me dragons.
Yeah.
As if you have been listening to this, you know I want dragons in my book.
Are there dragons in this book?
No. Not yet. That I can think of. There's probably dragons.
There might be.
There's a
There
phoenix.
is the possibility of dragons.
Yeah. Speaking of this book, we have been reading The Poppy War by R.F. Kaung. It is the story of a war orphan named Rin who, after acing an exam, gets placed in her nation's top academy where they teach strategy, martial arts, history, all the kind of fantasy stuff you expect from a school.
Mm-hmm.
And her life as she goes from being an orphan to an elevated position.
That's a great summary.
Thank you. Like we said, the book starts out talking about this war orphan named Rin.
Mm-hmm.
She's our protagonist for the book. And it kind of starts out like a lot of fantasy books, unfortunately.
Her life sucks.
Yeah.
She, through whatever whims, in this case an exam, she ends up at a school, a military school,
Yes.
but a school nonetheless.
It has your standard kind of fantasy tropes in the school of, there's the different sections that the kids get sorted into.
Yes.
A bit different where the kids choose them and it's, a bit more academic than something like Harry Potter where it's just your vibes.
But it is a similar thing. It made the beginning of the book very tough for me to get into. And you kept telling me, just hang in there. It's going to be amazing. Yes, it's very tropey in the beginning. And I felt like I have read this sort of beginning a million times in fantasy. I mean, you mentioned Harry Potter, but also things like Percy Jackson, The Name of the Wind.
For sure.
I know there's others, but that
Absolutely.
I have read it enough to be familiar with that concept
Yes.
and be a little bored initially.
Sure.
But then it takes a sharp left turn out of nowhere and
Yeah.
becomes really interesting.
Yes, there is. Despite having that kind of an intro that we've seen before multiple times, despite that, I feel like the intro moves along pretty quickly.
It does.
Like, here's an orphan. She's going to school now. And then
In just a few chapters.
Yes. Like, I think less than the first chapter is her acing the test and not acing it, but well, actually I think she does ace it. Naturally, she's smarter than everybody else.
As protagonists go. Look,
Yes.
to be a chosen one,
Yes.
you have to have either some kind of genetic legacy or you have to be smarter than everybody. That's
Right.
just the rules.
Obviously.
There might be some other things in there that
Yes.
can make you the chosen one, but those are the main two.
Yeah, with absolutely zero training or study at all, you are just better than everybody around you.
Yes.
Which, to be fair, Rin does have to study for most things.
She does.
It's,
And she is physically weak, as is emphasized by the fact that she spends an entire semester or couple semesters dragging a pig up the mountain every day.
I did adore that. She has a training regimen along with the standard fantasy school tropes, you will see one of the tropes that I honestly adore is you have your weird teacher in Zhang, I believe his name is pronounced. Please forgive any problems or any pronunciation mistakes we may make. These are all Asian names, and we are not Asian.
Which, as an aside, that's one of the reasons we picked this book. There's so much fantasy that is based on European history or heavily inspired by Tolkien, which is great. We love all of that. But we wanted to read something that was a little different from what we normally have read. And so we were specifically looking for well-regarded fantasy that had an Asian background or an African background, just something...
So something based, like, that is not based in European mythologies.
Exactly. And this was perfect.
Yeah, because like you said, so much of it has been influenced by Tolkien, rightfully so. I mean,
of course,
Lord of the Rings, some of the greatest books ever written.
Yes.
We know this, but it is very refreshing seeing something that is influenced by lores and mythologies and religions that we have not grown up with.
Exactly. Which brings us full circle back to your comment about us perhaps butchering some of the names.
Yes.
Apologies.
Yep.
We're doing our best.
Our bad.
I'm not going to lie. I did do that typical fantasy thing in this book on multiple occasions where I didn't even try to pronounce the names of some things and was just like, oh yeah, K City.
Yes.
Starts with a K. I know where it is.
Starts with a K, has a vibe.
Exactly.
We get it.
Any fantasy reader is familiar with that exact attitude.
Absolutely. You cannot remember all these names because 90% of them are bad.
Or just difficult to pronounce.
Or they're just a mishmash of syllables pushed together because it sounds vaguely sci-fi or fantasy.
I mean, did you ever hear the Tumblr advice of how to create names for your fantasy characters?
No.
Stick a couple Oreos in your mouth and then pronounce normal names.
I support this.
Works really good when especially when you think of things like the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I can see it.
But it works for fantasy in general.
Yes, absolutely.
But to get back on track, the Asian influence. Where was I going with this? Oh, the magic system.
Yeah.
That is somewhere that it's very clear.
How so?
So the basis of the magic system in the Poppy War is shamanism, which I knew basically nothing about.
I mean, I wouldn't say I know a lot about shamanism.
I would say I still don't.
Yeah.
I still don't know because I don't know how much of this is from reality and how much of this is just a fantasy version of.
Sure. How the magic kind of works in this system, and this is something we kind of discover through the first half as she is learning this with Zhang. It is essentially you take drugs, you talk to the gods, and you get more powerful. But because they are the gods and they're super powerful, there is a price every time, you could get burned up, just become insane.
Yes.
Whatever it may be.
They have 64 gods that live up in this pantheon. And you access them via drug use.
Yes.
And...
Which, to me, it did seem like there were kind of two separate quote-unquote magic systems, where there was the one with the shamanism.
Yes.
Which also throughout this book, it is treated, shamans are treated as a rarity. They're not something that is common throughout this land.
Yes.
But then I may be remembering this completely wrong, but I feel like there was a point near the beginning when they're training, like combat training in the school.
Oh, yeah.
When the teacher is talking about if you focus all of the force into your palm, you can move mountains.
It's the whole channeling your chi or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mention that specifically in a martial arts context. And it's touched on multiple times, but not really delved into.
Right.
I mean, they lay the groundwork early in the book that this is a culture that has a history of worshiping a variety of gods, but that overall their society has become very secular and atheistic. So a lot of the like household gods and like river gods and that kind of stuff, it's in name only. There's a history of getting into, honestly, probably Chinese history, where a lot of the temples, there was war that wiped out a bunch of temples, and monks are not common anymore. Like I said, there are still temples that people worship in, but it's kind of in name only. It's not that they really believe that anymore. So that's part of shamans being very rare, is because the general populace doesn't even believe that the gods are even real.
Sure.
Which further isolates Rin when she starts learning about that, because she's the only student who's learning about that stuff.
Yeah, right. Like she is in the book she is a student of lore is what she is, and that means she gets to be with the quirky teacher.
Yes.
But I do think I like how different it is from our standard Western magic sets, where it is, I don't know, even when it is like a god or something who is granting these magic powers, it is like it's a gift from the god. Whereas part of one of the arcs of this book is Rin kind of, essentially Act 2 comes around when a war breaks out in this nation and the school gets kind of put on hiatus and all the kids have to do war things. Yes. But there is a point where, spoilers, also not spoilers, you know what a hero's journey is. You knew this was coming. I know this is 15 minutes into the episode. Zhang dies at some point. And part of Rin's arc is her going back and forth between these teachings with Zhang, where he has been asking her to seek balance in this pantheon, to be at the exact center, and do not go seeking this power because you will either die, go insane, or unleash unspeakable horrors upon the world.
Yes.
Because these are not gods in the sense of like a Western god where they have created the world and, well, we reach out to them to ask for things. These are gods in the sense that these are forces of nature that exist regardless of whether we're here or not. So it is a constant request for power that is always it always, it's not quite with Western mythologies where we tend to have a character that is like you are making a deal with this Satan-like character, and there is some or like a genie or something, and then there's something where it's like, oh, there's a hidden consequence. The monkey's paw curls. Whereas in this, it is a very blatant, no, you're gonna get hurt doing this.
Or as they phrase it, because Rin is calling out to the Phoenix, which is a fire god, that if you do this, if you continue down this path, it will consume you.
Yes. So it is that, I guess, circling around. I have rambled and I apologize. Part of her arc is her going between the teachings of Zhang and trying to find that balance and seeking the power necessary to combat this war that is happening in her nation, when, there may be consequences to that.
Yes.
Do you have other thoughts about the magic system?
No. I did, like I said, I just enjoyed seeing something that I had not seen before.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, cool. What do you think about the usage of drugs in the book? Because it is big fan of creative magic systems, big fan of giving me different ways to reach this power that is granted in whatever way it is. But there is a risk when you're writing a book and your way to get that power is take large amounts of narcotics.
Psychedelics specifically.
That is true, psychedelics specifically.
That I know that was a question that you had posed to me when we both had finished the book, is do you think that this book is endorsing the use of psychedelics, either either from a religious standpoint or just to experiment and expand your mind or whatever, I'm on the fence.
Sure.
Because this is a fantasy setting,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But all the drugs that are mentioned are real.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rin tends towards poppy seeds.
Yep.
But there's a scene at one point once the war begins where basically the militia that she's part of, they cater to the shamans, and she goes to get poppy seeds, and he has a whole array of psychedelic options, but it is very closely controlled because they are using the shamans for a military purpose, in which case, you know, she goes to just grab stuff and he's like, no, this is very tightly controlled. We don't want you to get addicted. This is to be used for war, and it's all precisely measured based on your weight and your capabilities and what exactly you need to reach the pantheon, to call on the gods. Which in that case, if she had stuck with that, I don't know, that seems fairly controlled.
Sure.
You know, it's not just somebody popping pills constantly,
Right.
day in, day out. But on the other hand, you still have a magic system where your protagonist is using drugs.
Now, and I think to say the on the side of this book is not praising drug use here.
No.
That power is harmful. Even though when you do reach the power, it is harmful not only because of the drugs you take, but because of the power that you're receiving.
Yes, I mean, like we said earlier, part of the danger within this magic system is the propensity of these shamans to go insane. It's just accepted that eventually you're going to go insane, and whether that is because of constantly traversing between the physical world and the spiritual world, or whether that's in combination with maybe perpetual use of psychedelics, regular use of psychedelics, whichever or whatever combination that is part of, and I guess that's that dark side that you're talking about. What do you think?
I think I honestly don't think the book is saying something concerning drugs one way or the other. I think it just happens to be. I think it's kind of a grimdark book, and this adds to the grimdark nature of it.
I would go with that. I don't think that. I don't think the author is trying to endorse.
Right.
It's just, this is the magic system she created.
Yeah, absolutely. It always makes me nervous when it's something where it's like, oh, take a substance to get powerful and just, things like that, or harm yourself to access your magic.
Yes.
And part of that is just because having had some experiences with substances, they are something that is they can be very dangerous and harmful to you if not done carefully. It is not something to be played with and just,
Especially, like I said earlier, it's not a made up psychedelics. Like, everything that is mentioned is a real thing that exists in our world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even though the book is a fantasy setting, and you're not going to access the pantheon of 64 Asian-inspired gods if you take poppy seeds.
You won't. It's such a bummer.
That said, it's not some made-up substance. So I could see it in making some people curious.
Sure. Then, obviously, this is a book for adults to be read by adults. I'm
not trying to police content. I'm just saying it's not a made-up substance,
yeah,
guys.
Absolutely. It is just a thought the book brings up.
Yeah.
And as you were reading books with magic systems, what does the magic system say? Because there is a language to that, too.
Very true. Should we talk about the content warning that we knew going into this book.
100% we should. If you have heard about this book, as we had, generally it's regarded as I have heard about it. I've heard about it, but that A, it's a very well written book, and B, it's brutal. My experience was I heard that there was a lot of content warnings for sexual violence and just violence in general.
Yes.
Is that what you had coming into it?
Yes.
I know I read it a little bit before you started it.
I had heard same thing, that it was a well-revered new fantasy book series. And yes, that there was trigger warning for sexual violence, which is part of the reason I had held off on it a little bit, because I did not know what the extent of that was.
I know there were you and a few other people in my life who were waiting for me to read the book to know if it was okay for them to read. Well, and I did say it was.
Yes. I will say I didn't think that the violence was that brutal. Just the straight, like, fighting war scenes.
So I would agree. The actual, like, action scenes,
it's not that.
They are not.
I have read more brutal action sequences.
100%. But where the content warning comes in is about 3/4 through the book, I want to say it is.
Yes.
Maybe a little earlier than that. It's in the middle of this war. They come across this city that has been ransacked by the opposing forces. And they come across survivors who recount their experiences.
And they just are walking through the city and seeing the bodies that have been mangled in all kinds of horrific, truly horrific ways.
And it does go into some graphic descriptions of these actions.
Yes. It's not very many pages.
No.
It is, honestly, I think if you wanted to read this book but were worried about that, you can see it coming. There's really two scenes per se where the worst of it is, and you can kind of see where that's going and skip a couple pages, and then you're going to be okay. For
sure. If it is the sexual violence that is concerning you, it's a couple pages. As for just the violence in general, I will say there is a lot of, I think we forget, like, there's some casual violence in here.
There is.
It's a grimdark fantasy world. There's going to be points where they go, oh, the thieves were hanging from the castle outside, and you just kind of go, yeah, it's a grimdark. What do you expect?
I mean, that's normal for fantasy.
But if that's not something you're accustomed to.
The casual asides like that don't bother me. It's when they get into the graphic detail.
Sure.
And specifically, when they come into that city and they are witnessing all of the bodies and start talking about exactly what was done to some of these bodies, including women and babies and stuff.
Sure. Absolutely.
I legitimately felt sick to my stomach.
Yes.
And that is not a normal experience for me when reading fantasy. It was truly horrific, and I was sitting there going, did the author think up these horrible ways to torture people to death?
Funny you should ask that. So, because I agree, my stomach was also a bit ill reading some of those descriptions, which that is very much not something that happens to me. I can stomach a lot when I'm reading and watching movies, and
I was going to say, you have a much higher tolerance than me.
100%.
And some of it was also me reading it as a woman and, like, hearing some of the, like, later on, one of the survivors recounts her experience in the war and the sexual abuse that she and a couple other women experienced. And that was really rough to read.
For sure.
Again, made me feel sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
But as you were saying, the author in the creation of this.
Yes. So because you can skip these scenes.
Yes.
I don't think you should. Because all of these scenes are based off of accounts from, I know one of the references is the rape of Nanking. I can't remember off the top of my head the other ones. I know R.F. Kuang has a section in the back of the book talking about where she gets these accounts from, but a lot of them are basically word for word the same accounts of these horrors that have happened before.
It is her. She recommends several books. If you want to read more, I personally don't know if I could stomach to read more. But yes, you mentioned The Rape of Nanking.
Yes.
There's also her accounts of World War II.
Yeah.
From the Asian theater. Is that
yeah,
it?
so The Rape of Nanking is the main one. It does say when she's talking about the massacre in the city that it is basically ripped word for word from, she references The Rape of Nanking, The Forgotten Holocaust of World War II by Iris Chang.
I will say, if you want to learn more about The Rape of Nanking, but you don't want to read an entire book about it, there is a 2011 movie called The Flowers of War, starring Christian Bale. I didn't know what it was about when I watched it in 2011.
Oh,
you
no.
laugh. I was traumatized.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah. It was not a fun movie. I was horrified.
Yeah.
I was like, Christian Bale, historical drama. Sign me up. No.
And you got war crimes.
I got, war crimes, sexual torture that I did not want to experience.
Right. And also noted as well as it's not just the sexual events, but also a lot of the urban warfare comes from actual accounts from World War II.
In that vein, I also, another recommendation, if you would like to be further horrified about World War II, there's a book that I read a few years ago that is called The Unwomanly Face of War, An Oral History of Women in World War II. It's by Svetlana Alexievich. And basically it is an English translation of a collection of oral history of women in Russia and like Eastern Europe during World War II, recounting everything that happened to them during the war. So positive things, the I fell in love and and then and they did this to my baby. And so it is the full range of human experience. And I highly recommend that book if you would like to know more about World War II, because it's not all battles and dates and airplanes go pew pew.
It's not. There are horrific things that people have done.
Yes. Case in point, this book.
Yes. To repeat myself, I don't think... Yes, it was horrifying and it was vastly uncomfortable reading those passages. I don't think that's enough to not read the book.
I agree. I 100% agree. If you are very sensitive to those things, maybe don't go read a history of the historical events that inspired this. But I think it is important to see the evil that humans can inflict on each other.
Absolutely. But yeah, overall, I think this is a very well-written book.
Yes.
Very excited to read the next two.
It's a trilogy, I believe.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Not only am I excited to read those, I'm excited to read the rest of R.F. Kuang's books. Yes, I'm a fan now. I will be reading the rest of them. I love finding a new author. It makes me so happy. It's
true, because I think especially we gravitate towards fantasy and sci-fi. There are a lot of familiar tropes.
Yes.
The number of times that I've picked up a book and gotten 50 pages in and gone, no.
Yep.
No.
Absolutely.
Can't do it. Or sometimes page 1, no, can't do it.
And there's a lot that is, like, yes, the intro to this book is very tropey, and we've seen it before, but there is a lot that is very refreshing about this. I think the politics in here are super interesting. The history of this world and how they got to where they are, why their government is the way that it is, fantastic. I think the magic system's great. Both versions, both the kung fu and the drug version. Um,
Yes.
yeah.
I appreciated the fact that we read an entire fantasy novel with a female protagonist and there was no love triangles.
There are a few love interests, but yeah, even then it's not.
It's a hint.
Yes.
Hint of romance.
Right.
There is no.
Because that is nice. Because yes, these are kids, and so it would make sense for them to bond with each other and attach that way. But it is also like, y'all, we in the middle of war.
Yes, so I appreciate the fact that while she has close relationships with multiple attractive male characters and female characters,
that's true.
She does not. It's not that the thoughts never cross her mind, but then it's gone because she has more serious things like
absolutely.
Staying in school and then surviving this war.
And her lust for power.
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
It is, like I mentioned her arc earlier, I am really excited to read the rest of these and see what happens with her and her path between, Zhang's teaching and fully succumbing to the Phoenix.
Yes. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
We got to order them on Thrift Books.
Oh, darn. We got to buy more books. What a shame. I hate that.
So is this a book that gets more than 2 stars?
Yes. I gave it 5 stars.
Wow.
Yes. I love a good fantasy. I will always have a star tacked on or off for my own personal opinion. But I do think it's a 5-star book. Starts out tropey, but refreshing, original, interesting characters,
Check it out, guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Personally, I gave it 4 stars.
Lame.
I know.
Coward.
That's
Criminal.
because it didn't land. That's my personal star. My personal star that I'm taking off because it did not personally land for me as much as it did for you.
My personal star is because I'm a f***ing weeb.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry, you'll have to bleep that out.
You'll have to bleep that out. You're editing.
Oh, I'm editing this. But yeah, so those are our thoughts on the Poppy Wars. Has there been anything else that you've been listening to, reading, watching?
Can I do 2?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay.
There are no rules to this show. We can do it how we want.
Cool. Then I have 2 things. Yeah. One, it's fall, and I wanted to watch cozy movies. And that was one of my goals for this fall, is to watch at least 1 or 2 cozy movies that I have not seen before. And so recently we sat down and watched The Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh, yeah.
And I was a little hesitant because I'm not a huge Wes Anderson fan. I've seen 3 or 4 of his movies.
Yeah.
And it's not for me typically.
Sure.
I want to so much because I typically love quirky little indie movies.
Before anyone starts accusing me of being like the art boyfriend or whatever, first off, we're married. And second off, it was her idea to watch this movie. I also don't like Wes Anderson.
But you like this movie.
It's the only Wes Anderson I like.
I will say I haven't watched enough to truly say that this is the only one I like, but it was so delightful. And you made a good point when we were watching it that his quirky style really lends itself to animation or a more cartoony
I really
style.
think so, yeah.
Like, I think this was stop motion.
Yeah.
But same thing, cartoony.
I just think it's because of his comedic style, there is a lot of that, like, physical comedy and, like, camera comedy. I don't know what to call it.
Yes.
But, and like, I think that works better as a cartoon, or in this case, specifically with this movie, like the long, lanky limbs and how they move when they're like trotting around. Yes. That kind of thing, I think, works very well for Wes Anderson.
Yes.
And best in animation.
Also, just real briefly, if you're not familiar with Fantastic Mr. Fox, concept is there's a fox. He used to be a thief. He got married, settled down, had a child. Now he's a reporter. And for whatever reason, midlife crisis or whatever, he decides to have one last fling of thievery and they happen to live in a tree that is right across from the 3 big farms in town that have poultry and whatnot. And there's heist elements. It's just fun.
Just good fun.
It's fun. I won't necessarily say that it's a kids or family.
It's technically labeled as a family movie.
That's like the last tag on IMDb. There's 10 other tags before that do not mention family or children. So it's not that it's inappropriate for kids, but it's not aimed at kids.
No, it's not.
It is aimed at an adult audience while still being appropriate for children to view.
Yes.
But anyway, it is very cozy. It was delightful. Highly recommend. I will recommend my other thing after you recommend your thing.
Oh, sure. I have been playing a video game called The Outer Worlds 2. It was released a few weeks ago as of record. It has been one of those games where I tell Christina, hey, here's the date this is coming out. Don't talk to me for the next 3 days afterwards. I was super excited for it. It's a big open world role-playing game set in the far future in a distant galaxy where corporations and dictatorships have taken over, kind of in a comedic setting, making fun of, the corporate dystopia that we live in and are progressing towards rapidly.
Fun.
Yeah. I also get to shoot a lot of things.
You do.
It's very fun.
Mm-hmm. It looks fun. Every time that I walk in, there's something interesting going on screen.
Dark comedy.
Cool.
What's your other thing?
Okay, last thing. I want to recommend another podcast, which I...
Unacceptable.
Okay, it doesn't compete with ours because this is nonfiction.
Dang it.
So a podcast that I have gotten really into in the last... Oh gosh, has it been more than a month? I don't know. I've been listening to these a lot. They come out with 3 every single week, and I listen to all of them.
I want to see what your hours in Stardew Valley are right now.
That's also high. It's very nice to listen to a podcast while I do my little farming tasks, okay? It's great. Anyway, I've been listening to, it's the Dr. John Deloney show. If anybody is familiar with him, he is part of the Dave Ramsey network. Take it or leave Dave Ramsey. Whatever. I have not... Dave Ramsey aside. Dr. John Deloney, he has a couple PhDs, and his show is basically a syndicated radio. People call in with their problems, and he talks about anxiety, depression, marriage, relationship issues, parenting, all of that. People call in with their questions. There's usually 3 questions per episode from 3 different people. And he just helps them do, quote unquote, figure out what the next right move is in whatever situation. But I really appreciate it. I think I've gotten a lot of good relationship advice. And like I said, talking about anxiety and depression. I'm currently reading one of his books, Building a Non-Anxious Life, that has really reframed how I look at anxiety. Still working on it, but it's helpful. I really appreciate his style. He manages to both be very empathetic and good at being present and listening to people while also calling them out on their bullshit and being a straight shooter. And so I really, really appreciate it and highly recommend the Dr. John Deloney show.
Nice.
But also, don't forget to join us next month.
Yes. What are we reading?
We are going to read a novella.
Yeah. Oh, yes. We are doing a novella / our end of the year awards. Right? Isn't that what we're doing?
It's true. I don't know what that entails, but...
I don't either. We'll figure it out.
You guys will figure it out when you come back.
Yes.
But yes, we are reading a novella. It is called Small Things Like These. It's by Claire Keegan. She's an Irish author writing about a coal merchant in 1980s Ireland. And he makes a discovery at a local convent shortly before Christmas that forces him to confront his past and look at the Complicit Silences of a Town Controlled by the Church. This book was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize. It won the Orwell Prize. It's been on part of Oprah's book club. It was made into a movie starring Cillian Murphy.
How is there enough in a novella to make a movie?
I don't know, but Cillian Murphy stars in it, and so I want to watch it, but I gotta read the book first, because also, I mean, it's a novella. This thing is 115 pages. So join us next month to read a Christmas novella. Small Things Like These.
Bye-bye.
Farewell.